All right, guys. So Tulsi Gabbard, who's probably the most interesting political figure in 2021, in my opinion, has been going hard against the Biden administration in regards to the border crisis. Now, a couple weeks ago, Tulsi came out and tweeted that the Biden administration / Kamala Harris as well, throw her in there, they have an open borders policy, right? That they are lying about illegal immigration, right? They're lying, okay? She's essentially saying they're letting illegals into the country, right? And that they're not actually doing their jobs. Now, the left got pissed at Tulsi, right? They got pissed because it was like, Tulsi, what are you talking about? Biden doesn't have an open borders policy. Biden's using Title 42 to send back immigrants that are coming to the border just like Trump did. What are you talking about? Biden doesn't have open borders. Right? So they went after her hard for that, right? The left does not like Tulsi, right? They do not like Tulsi. They think that people like her and Jimmy Dore, who are definitely leftists, they think that they are conservative right-wing lunatics, right? It's just simply because they're critical of the left. It's just kind of how it goes in politics, right? So yeah, she took a whole lot of flack from the left on that stance. However, she doubled and tripled down on her stance by coming out a few days ago and going on Judge Jeanine Pirro's show and Fox News and basically saying that the Biden administration is continuing to lie about what's going on at the border. And it seems like she might be right, as some new leaked documents are showing that the Biden administration is in fact letting people into the country, right? Catching them and then just release them into the country. So without further ado, let's actually play the clip of Tulsi Gabbard talking to Jeanine Pirro about this and calling the Biden administration liars. And then we're going to get into these leaked Border Patrol documents. Roll the clip.
Issue here, Judge, is that these drug cartels, these human traffickers, they are incredibly emboldened to the point where they feel that they can do this without consequence, where they feel they can continue profiting off of trafficking people across these borders that are essentially open. The Biden-Harris administration has an open door policy at the borders, and it doesn't matter how many times Secretary Blinken or Kamala Harris or anyone from the administration says, don't come across the border. The reality is that people are being let in and crossing the border every single day. I think we look at the numbers. In August of this year alone, over 200,000 people were apprehended for trying to illegally cross the border, 317% increase over last year, August. And we're seeing hundreds of thousands more crossing the border who are not apprehended. Actions speak louder than words. And the fact is that the open door policy that this administration has in place is posing a humanitarian crisis, is creating a humanitarian crisis as well as a very serious security threat for our country.
Well, at what point do we hold Joe Biden and his administration accountable? I mean, do they actually, there's so much going on from the border to COVID to schools. I mean, it goes on and on.
You make a good point here. The faith and trust that the American people need to have in our leaders is dropping every day. The Department of Homeland Security Secretary recently told Congress, our borders are secure. This is what he said. This kind of bold-faced lie, whether it has to do with domestic issues or foreign policy issues, we've seen this with Afghanistan and the tragically botched withdrawal of our troops and Americans out of Afghanistan. When people are being lied to, the American people are being lied to, it is revealing of the arrogance and the self-serving nature of leaders who are in power in this country and the disrespect that they have for the American people, and it's why people are losing faith and trust in those leaders. If we have leaders who respect the people, then the people will respect our leaders. If we have leaders who trust the American people, we will trust our leaders. And that's the problem here, is we don't have leaders who have that trust and respect and who therefore put themselves ahead of the interests of the people.
Boy. Tulsi is not afraid to go out the Democrat establishment. Man, she really goes hard against them, like on a regular basis. It's kind of crazy. But she calls the Biden administration liars, right? Mariaka, she's calling him a bold-faced liar. And I guess the question is, does the Biden administration actually have an open borders policy? Well, I think the answer to that question is, like anything else in life, it depends on what you define as open borders, right? Because if you believe these leaked Border Patrol documents that show mass release of illegal immigrants into this country by the Biden administration, then the answer to that question is, yeah, right? If you catch immigrants and then you just release them into the country, right, with little to no supervision, then that to me sounds like open border. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not going to sit and act like Biden hasn't been sending anybody back. I'm not going to act like he's not trying to defend the right to use Title 42 in court, which essentially gives him the right to send back refugees due to the pandemic. I'm not going to act like he's not using that. He is. But at the same time, he's also letting people in at the same time. It's kind of weird. Just like we saw with the Haitians, okay, where at first he was trying to deport them. And then once Black Lives Matter and Maxine Waters and the mob came out, he was like, all right, we about to just release these people in. Okay, release tens of thousands of Haitians into the country. So to me, whether or not Biden has an open borders policy, again, depends on how you define it. But I think it really depends on the political winds at the time. But we know that Democrats are pro-illegal immigration. Like that's generally what they want. Okay, but at the same time, Biden, just can't let millions of people into the country. Or who knows? Maybe he is. Okay, maybe he is. Right? Maybe we don't have that information yet. So let's read about this leaked document that shows what's really going on at the border. At least 160,000 illegal immigrants have been released into the U.S., often with little to no supervision by the Biden administration since March, including a broad use of limited parole authorities to make more than 30,000 eligible for work permits since August. Border Patrol documents obtained by Fox News show. The documents give a partial snapshot into how the Biden administration has been releasing enormous numbers of migrants into the U.S., often with little to no oversight, supervision, or immediate risk of deportation. All right, guys, so as you can see here, these are the documents, okay? It says, according to Border Patrol documents provided by a source, the federal government has released over 70,000 illegal immigrants into the U.S. since August 6th. Whoa, since 70,000 since August 6th, okay? That's been, almost 2 months ago? That's crazy. Including 31,977 released via parole, temporary legal status, eligible for work permits. So, aka 31,000 people that can take your job, right? I mean, that's essentially what it is, right? 94,570 released via NTR since 3/20. So it seems to me that Biden has actually ramped up the release of illegal immigrants into the country. It's almost like he's given up on the border, which is probably why Tulsi came out and said the things she said, saying that he has an open borders policy. It all started to make sense. Since March 20th, at least 94,570 illegal immigrants have been released into the U.S. with notices to report. Those who receive such a notice are only required to check in with ICE office when they get to their final destination, which could be anywhere across the country. Those who check in are not deported or detained as their immigration proceedings move forward. Meanwhile, since August 6th, the administration has released roughly 32,000 immigrants into the U.S. via parole, which gives migrants a form of legal status and the ability to apply for work permits. Federal law says parole authority is to be used on a case-by-case basis for urgent humanitarian purposes and significant public benefit. Typically, only a handful of parole cases are granted by officials, but the Biden administration has been using it more broadly, including in its parole of tens of thousands of Afghans into the U.S. as part of the Operation Allies Welcome. So basically what's happened here is these people that are being released into this country are here to stay permanently, right? That's essentially what's happening. He ain't going to send them back, okay, because they don't really have to check in. They don't have any oversight or anything like that, so it really doesn't matter, okay? Former Border Patrol Chief Rodney Scott, who served under President Biden, reviewed the documents and told Fox News that he believes the administration is abusing its parole authority. Quote, by law and regulation, a parole shall be granted on a case-by-case basis and only for significant humanitarian reasons or significant public benefit. Neither of these appear to apply to the current situation, he said, adding that the number of parole leads brings into question the review and approval process. Quote, as a field chief, I do not believe I ever approved more than 5 or 10 parolees in a year. He said, when I did, I ensured that the alien was monitored continuously and was detained or removed as soon as the circumstances allowed. Wow. So yeah, he's just abusing power, right? He's abusing his authority, right? It's lawlessness at the border, literally. The documents also show that since August 6th, the administration has released an additional 40,000 illegal immigrants on their own reconnaissance. The documents also show that on one single day in Del Rio, 128 single adult illegal immigrants were released into the U.S. without ATD, which typically includes tracking by an ankle monitor or phone. A Customs and Border Protection official told Fox that mechanisms like paroling and using NTRs and enrolling migrants in alternative to detention provides mechanisms to require family units released from CBP custody to report to ICE within a specific time. The officials also cites figures that show that between 2014 and 2020, 81% of those released into the U.S. did report in for their immigration proceedings. The agency has not released its numbers for September, but both July and August, there were more than 200,000 migrant encounters, marking some of the highest numbers in 2 decades. Since then, migrants have kept coming in large numbers. According to the documents, Rio Grande Valley encountered 5,900 migrants in 1 week, while Del Rio encountered more than 2,900 in the same period. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, who has repeatedly claimed that the border is not open, reportedly warned officials of a worst-case scenario up to 400,000 encounters if Title 42 public health protections were ended. Republicans have blamed the Biden administration's rapid rollback of the Trump-era border protections for the ongoing crisis at the border. The administration, however, has focused on the explanation, emphasizing root causes like poverty, corruption, and violence in Central America. All right, so, yeah, it kind of sounds to me like the Biden administration has an open borders policy, okay, to a certain extent. Right? For some people, Biden seems to be for open borders. For some people, he seems not to be. Right? So with that being said, I have no clue what the hell is going on because there's so many contradictions everywhere. But I think the most likely explanation is that Biden encouraged so many people to come that we're being overwhelmed, and some people are just being released in and some people are being deported. Okay? But again, the root problem was the fact that they told people to come during the primaries. So what's happening is that people are coming, okay? And when you have situations like what happened with the Haitians, in which Biden folded and just allowed people into the country, that motivates more people to come, right? Because they see that you're willing to fold, okay? So, you know, it seems that Tulsi was on to something here and that the left was going after her prematurely, right? So we'll see. The month is October. It is expected that we're supposed to have a record number of migrants show up at the border. Apparently, there's a couple caravans on the way. We will see if this gets worse. I think it will. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.